Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to run down everything that we learned about Gotham Knights this week. And this is really promising news for us that we are still getting so much information about this game. Typically, they come out, they announce the game, they go away for several months. That is not what is happening here. There have been sustained promotional content for this game, which is exciting to see and gives us hope for the game potentially coming out early next year or middle 2020. Not getting anybody's hopes up, 2021, I mean to say. We never know, but one can hope. All right, so we have 4 bits of news here. First, we're going to talk about the length of the story. The game director, Patrick Redding, actually gave us some details about how long this game will be, which is very interesting. We'll delve into that. We'll also talk about some online co-op stuff. They gave us a small tidbit of information about that. They also revealed a Poison Ivy Easter egg, and we get a breakdown of Batgirl's suit and potentially a hint at some gear system stuff going on in the game. All right, let's talk about the length of the Gotham Knights story. From the game director, Patrick Redding, the reason we went for a mystery sort of structure for our main story is that it isn't something that you just grind through over a weekend. It's something where you uncover a piece of it and you get a chance to explore that piece, and it has implications and it changes the world. And then you have to kind of go and do the detective legwork in order to get access to what the next piece is going to be. So it really is a mystery arc. And so with the Court of Owls, the things start out as one thing and then they definitely end up somewhere else. So keep in mind that in previous Batman games, Batman Arkham City was 6 hours long. Batman Arkham Knight, maybe 8 or 9. If you're really shitty at the Arkham games, you'll say 12. In the case of Batman Arkham Asylum, you can easily beat it in 5 hours. Given that context, this game is something that can't even be beaten in a weekend. Meanwhile, we've all beaten a Batman Arkham game in one night. It's not difficult to do. Whereas you're talking about one weekend playing 12 hours a day for an entire weekend and you still can't beat the game. That gives us inclination that the game might be several dozen hours long, approaching 50 hours in length potentially. And it is not a linear story. It is perhaps linear in the sense that every person's story ends up in the same place and that we all experience the same cutscenes, but the order might be slightly different based upon the fact that this is a webbing story structure. So in other words, you hit every web, but the order that you go is slightly dependent upon the path that you take. Additionally, you can switch between playing through one character at a time. You can play the entire game as one character or alternate between 4 Bat Family characters. The question is, how do you fill a story that long? And the answer is with a lot of meat, a lot of story, cutscenes, and character development. Because the only way that you can really make something like that work is having that level of character development where we're attached to the story and the narrative like we were in Spider-Man PS4 and other engaging games with great cutscenes and character animation work. You've got to fill a game that long with tons of content, and I think that W Montreal will do that. This, again, is the first inclination that we've seen that this will be a substantially longer game than any DC video game we've ever played, which is very exciting. And I really think the story sounds fantastic. And since it's a murder mystery, I wonder if they will target an October release, given that October just kind of feels like a Batman month to me. And not only that, they've targeted Batman Arkham Asylum, was released in October, and I think other games they really like to put in that time slot for Batman in particular. The Batman also was scheduled to come out in October of 2021, but that was canceled. That would have made a lot of sense for Gotham Knights to come out in the same month as the Batman. But now that that's delayed, I think Warner Brothers might be in the position of like, hey, we need something to come out, and that could potentially accelerate the time frame that we get Gotham Knights. You never know in this era of COVID, in this era of 2020, in this world and year that it is. You never know what's going to happen. Let's talk about online co-op. This might be one of the most interesting things that he said so far. And this is clipped from an interview that he did. He also mentioned that the game is going to have a unique, untethered co-op experience, which should make it great for people that are playing together. I would like to keep in mind that he is not directly quoted there. So this easily could have been taken out of context, and this is the way that the journalist perceived what he said. Although let's assume that it's true and that this is a untethered co-op experience. What does that mean and what does that entail? What immediately goes to my head is open free roam, open free world. That is what we've always asked for in the Batman Arkham games and Batman Arkham Knight. That was the biggest critique of that game, is that we did not get free roam with Batgirl, with Nightwing, and with Red Hood. And frankly, it's probably a good idea that they didn't include it. Now, that's a hot take. I know that's a hot take. Why do I say that? Why do I say that it's better that we actually didn't have free roam in Batman Arkham Knight? It's because the game wasn't built for free roam with those characters. This game is going to be built for free roam with all 4 characters because all 4 characters are meant to be played in that role. In the case of Nightwing and Red Hood and these other characters that are fun to play in challenge maps, the map was not built around them. It was built around Batman's traversal with the Batmobile, and it would have been laborious and tedious and obvious that the map was not built to be running along the ground floor because you have no grapple mechanics, because your X character, you know, whatever. This game, with every character having a bat bike with civilians, just the way that it's built from the ground up is meant for all 4 of these characters to have a place free roaming, and this game is built up from the ground up with those 4 characters in mind, not just with Batman in mind. But I think that an untethered co-op experience where it is open free roam, I can get in with, you know, Salvage or Jake or whoever, we can free roam around the map for hours, beat people up, do side missions together, and an untethered co-op experience to me would involve, rather than doing missions like a Destiny type of thing where you load in a mission, the untethered co-op experience is you let both characters loose at the same time, almost GTA style. But I still would say that that is unique. It's unique in the sense that it's never been done in the comic book industry. It's always either these loot 'em games like Avengers, which again, that's where you're loading into a mission. It's not true open world free roam where you're dropped in the open world. You know, missions are loading and it's very much like you're teleporting between worlds. It's just a totally different feel. If this game is going for a full RPG feel, it can have that open world free roam without it feeling like a loot 'em shoot 'em game, without it feeling cheap like a Lego game or something like that. Basically, imagine free roaming in the Batman Arkham games, but having a friend with you. It would, but then an even larger map. It would just be so riveting to see. That's all we really have about co-op. I'm curious to learn more about it. I hope they include fun modes in the co-op, kind of like they canned the $1 Million Mayhem mission from Batman Arkham Knight, where you get in the Batmobile, in the Joker Batmobile, and then you blow up a bunch of stuff and you try to get $1 million worth of property damage and you win the game. You know, it's silly stuff like that. I wonder if they can have new fun co-op online modes in addition to challenge maps, in addition to free roaming again, and an untethered open world. In addition to all of those things, what else can we do co-op in the game? And of course, playing through the story. That's also a part of the online multiplayer co-op functionality of this game. All right, number 3 on my list, Poison Ivy Easter eggs. So this is Pamela's Diner, obviously a reference to Pamela Isley, who is Poison Ivy. This is something that I don't really have a whole lot to say about, besides that I like the character, or excuse me, the building design. I like the aesthetic of it. I really like the bright neon lights in this game as a general rule. The art design is something that I am a big fan of thus far. Given that context, I really quite like this image, and I think that it's great to see this allusion to her. Poison Ivy is probably one of the first confirmed villains for the game. With this teaser, I would say that Poison Ivy is confirmed. I would say that Anarchy is confirmed in the Court of Owls. But besides those 3 villains, which, by the way, none of which have had a main role in the Batman Arkham games, none of them have had any main role in recent comics. You know, when's the last time you really read about Anarchy? You didn't see him in the New 52. You didn't see him in Rebirth. It's the same thing with Poison Ivy. She's taken a backseat. She's all in the Suicide Squad. She's in Birds of Prey. And in those books, she was in those books in the New 52, and she still pretty much is in that side of the world. And she is not in as a Batman villain. She's been underutilized by Tom King and other Batman writers, and given that context, it's important for that character to play a pivotal role in this game, just like she did in Arkham Knight, and just like she did in Arkham City. Additionally, in the initial teaser gameplay that we saw, where Robin smashes to the ground outside of the hospital fighting Anarchy's thugs, you can actually see an allusion to the Elliott family, the family of the Hush, right? And basically, we found out that this game is divided into 5 maps in terms of the free world. The map is divided into 5 sections. And one of those sections is owned by each family of Gotham. So, for instance, the Cobblepots, for instance, the Elliots, the Waynes, and 2 others. And those areas are basically dominated almost in like this bourgeoisie, billionaire turf war type of thing. And that's basically who runs Gotham, and the Court of Owls obviously have heavy influence into that. I think the geography and topography of the map are going to be heavily related to the story and intertwined into that, which will make the game will just feel very immersive, and I can't wait to see that. And again, the map itself feels immersive with the neon lights. It feels just like an incredibly immersive map and experience, so I can't wait to get my hands on this game next year. All right, let's now talk about this Batgirl suit breakdown image published by the Gotham Knights page. So they're doing this promotion where basically you send in fan art and cosplay and other things like that to them. That's great, obviously getting fan engagement going, and it's just a positive sign to see them interacting with us as much as they have been. So let's also talk about the gear system in general, and the fact that Batgirl looks completely different in the gameplay trailer versus the CGI trailer. We see in the CGI trailer her very traditional Burnside purple look. I personally am more a fan of her all-black look in Batman Arkham Knight and in Gail Simone's New 52 run, which began in 2011. Then it was redone in Burnside, issue 35 of Batgirl, and from issue 35 to issue 52 of Batgirl, it went purple. And then in Rebirth, she also had a purple suit, although it looked even more, they toned back some of the really girly shit. I mean, between 35 and 52, I honestly, just as a male, couldn't read it. It's just too tween girly, you know, whereas Gail Simone's New 52 run was very much so an R-rated Bat Family interpretation that actually is much darker than Batman the Animated Series or manly than anything you could really read. Even though Gail Simone is a bit of a nut, she has some pretty wild opinions about things that I've seen on Twitter screenshotted. Ultimately, she did a fantastic job writing that book. It's just a reality that I think she's a very good writer. Her recent work has not been very good, but excluding that, you know, I highly recommend her New 52 run. But anyway, I say all of that to say, I hope that if I can get in this white ice suit that protects me against the snow and Mr. Freeze and ice and hypothermia and all that, and I can also have the purple Burnside suit, also the classic 60s suit. Maybe I can also have that 2011 Gail Simone New 52 suit, which I would really enjoy having. I also would get the Batman Arkham Knights suit, which is pretty similar. I just hope that they have lots of options there. And thinking about that, I'm so excited if we can actually get that New 52 suit, getting that Arkham Knight suit. I hope that all of the Arkham Knight skins carry over into this game. So, you know, if you have any cosplay, send it in to them and continue to monitor their Twitter. Turn on notifications for this channel as well. I really appreciate the support on the recent videos. Got a lot of fun stuff coming your way, including a new series that I'm so excited about. It's really game-changing, I think, for this entire industry that I am in, or that entire genre of YouTube. Like, the stuff that I'm working on really is pushing my boundaries of what I'm used to doing, and it's going to be great. So I'm very, very excited for you to see that. You can expect that in the next 2 weeks, the first episode of a brand new series that, again, is unlike anything I've ever done, anything that you will ever see from other YouTubers working on this in this space. So I'm very, very excited. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Shout out to my members. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, like the video, leave a comment with your thoughts on Gotham Knights so far. I'll be reading all the comments in this video and can't wait to chat with you guys in the next one. Peace.